it was. I mean, it was very productive, and we had a couple of guys play real well, and had a number of guys not play nearly as well as they're capable. And that probably was almost an encouraging sign to me because it was a very competitive day from, if you want to call it a keeping score standpoint, which Jay and I both agree on this, that the score is the least important thing of the whole day. It's what you get out of it, and I think it was really. I know it was really beneficial for us. I mean, he said it was really beneficial for them, and so it was a time well spent for our group especially, and but it's just been nice to figure some things out with these guys and have a better idea of where time needs to be spent. Pardon me? Pardon me, thank you. That's kind of the beauty. Now what happens for me is I feel like I'm cramming for an exam, and that's literally my school life was a long time ago. I crammed for a lot of exams because I managed to procrastinate a lot as a student, and I know none of you guys ever did that, but I haven't procrastinated, I promise, but I feel like I'm rushing for the exam now because there are several things that still need to be done, and these guys have been awesome. They've been they've tried very hard to learn, and I've tried very hard to go at a pace that I think that they're pretty comfortable with, and I would like to go faster. That's my nature, and so I'm certainly trying to meet them in the middle because it's more about what they can handle and they can process than it is my need to feel some safety and security. So I like where we're at. I don't know that I'd say I love where we're at, but I like where we're at, and I just hope that we can cover a lot of ground before a week from this Friday.
What stands out to you as far as things that really need improvement as you get ready to start the season?
Oh, well, first of all, everything needs improvement, and there's nothing about our team that is that I would call game ready. Game ready to me is game ready to win, but the thing that I have enough experience to know is there are very few teams in college basketball right now that are truly game ready. So, but if I'm going to get into specifics, it would be better offensive execution, sustaining concentration and focus for longer periods of time defensively. We had some very good offensive moments and some very good defensive moments over the weekend. Now the challenge is how we can build that out to get as close to 40 minutes of consistency as possible. And so that's what we go back and try to do. But there are still things that that we need to do in terms of out-of-bounds defense and out-of-bounds offense. And heck, the day before we went to Villanova, I had to show them how to throw the ball in bounds from the sideline. I mean, it's just little things like that in case we get pressed in a situation or whatever in that scrimmage. Okay, here's how we get the ball in on the side, because it's just one of those things that, something has to wait. And there are certain defenses that we have not prepared for yet, and not many, but still, if somebody comes out in a 1-3-1 zone, my team needs to know what our plan of attack is. You don't see a ton of 1-3-1, but at some point in the next 8 days, we have to spend a few minutes getting organized in a thing like that. Out-of-bounds defense, we do some different things on out-of-bounds defense, and we have to. I'll take some time at the end of practice today, and we'll put it in. And so that's just kind of what these days are about. You practice the meat and potatoes of the things that you do, whether it's man offense, man defense, press offense, press defense, zone defense, whatever it is that you do a lot. And then you have to put something in every day so that your entire scheme gets put in and has a chance to be worked on prior to the first game.
So once the team is game ready, what do you think will be its strengths and its personality?
Only having seen us compete one time against someone else, I still feel a little deficient in my ability to perhaps answer that with complete accuracy. Does that sound like I'm taking the fifth? But if I had to, the personality of the team, I think, will be one that we share the ball. I think that we are very good at times at ball movement, whether it be in half-court offense or whether it be in transition. I think we have some shot makers, maybe more so than what I've been used to in the past. I don't have to create a shot every possession, if that makes sense. They don't have to execute my scheme perfectly for us to come up with a high-quality shot, because Mike is certainly a shot maker. Jamel's certainly a shot maker. And we have other guys that are in their own way, they're shot makers. So that takes a little bit of the pressure off of me, because if the shot clock gets low, I don't have to have complete organization with my team in order to think that we can come up with a high quality shot. So that's a nice thing. I think we have the potential. I don't know that I would say that this will translate into a personality trait of the team. We have the potential to be a good defensive team. We have the potential not to be. So that sounds a little odd, but we could become difficult on the defensive end. The jury for me is still out on that one for sure. There were times on Sunday that we were very, very good defensively. That's what gives me hope. There were times when it felt like we were scored on at will. That's what causes me concern. I try to bear in mind that that's the defending national champion with 3 returning starters and 2 of their top subs, and so we didn't exactly play a low-level squad the other day. So they're pretty good, and but at times we looked pretty good defensively. So I'm hopeful that we can to build on that and make it something that is a truth about us. And the other thing I would say, long-winded answer to a short question, I hope I don't do that to you a lot, is I think that there's some toughness out there. I think our group has some toughness to them, and it was real pleasing to me that there was nothing about our group that backed up. There on Sunday, there was nothing about us that was apprehensive about what we were trying to do, and that made me real happy. Now, having said that, there wasn't any backup on the other side either. Okay, I'm just saying that. But I was pleased with the fact that our guys were locked in and had a high level of tenacious fight in them, and I really I always appreciate that as a coach.
Have you finalized your starting lineup yet, or do you have a set idea?
I would say that barring injury or an unforeseen circumstance, I would expect Jamel to start at the point, Chris Jones to start at the 2, Cam to start at the 3, Sheldon to start at the 4, and Mike to start at the 5. That would be my anticipation, with Ryan Luther being, the first guy off the bench, not at any position, but the guy that's earned the opportunity to come off the bench first and play significant minutes as well. And then beyond that, it's still a little bit up in the air. There's still a lot of competition going on for, I tell them that 9 play. And I haven't said it as much this fall as I've said in some preseasons, but you need to be in the 9. That's kind of what I tell them. And those other 3 spots, while there is some clarity to them, there are still a number of guys that are certainly in the mix to get that playing time.
When it's been a long time since you came to a new place and put in a system, how did you kind of go about? You talked a little bit about the process of just what we're going to do this day and what we're going to do the next day, and how was that for you? At this point in your career.
Oh, it's fun. It's been awesome to now. Now I can't sleep, but it's been awesome till right now because it's certainly an energizing thing to do it again and to put it back in place and to start it from scratch when the only guys that really know what you're doing are maybe an assistant coach or two. And what I've done is I've been a little bit more methodical, and maybe this is experience, but I would say that the first month that I was here, all we did in workouts was I told them, just go play and just show me what you know. Show me what you've been taught. And don't tell me, just show me. Just show me what you've been taught. So I learned about them. And as opposed to walking in and saying, all right, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. And not because I don't have confidence in what we're doing, because I certainly do, but because I felt like with such an experienced group, I didn't want to negate or neutralize their experience with my newness. And so I wanted to find out where their comfort levels were, what they were good at. And so I've been pretty methodical about how we've gone about implementing the things that we're doing. And honestly, we're doing some things that I've never done before, but that's typical for me because I'm not married to this or to that. What I'm married to is putting Mike Young in as many good spots as I can and getting him the ball where he can have a chance to do something with it. Okay, and my obligation and my responsibility to this team is to put them in as many places as I can and spots as I can to be successful. It's not about some system that I bring in here. Okay, I got over that a long time ago. This is not about my system or my way, or it's about what can I do, particularly with those 4 seniors. Maybe add in a Ryan and a Cam to that because they've got a lot of experience here. What can I do to promote their success and promote them being in the best situation possible? And that's what I've tried to do, and that's why I'm a little uncomfortable when I say we've gone a little bit more slowly than I prefer, because it's been a long time since I've had to think about those things, but I feel like we've made good decisions. Not every good decision has been a perfect one, and some of those have already been discarded, honestly. But we're getting there, and I feel good about the path we're on. And Sunday confirmed some things for me that was very helpful because I didn't know what to expect.
What were some of the things that you saw during that time period where you were just coming in and kind of evaluating, and you said, hey, they're pretty good at this, maybe we'll just leave that alone, or maybe I won't do this thing that I was doing before here?
You know, I would say one of the things was the shot making that I talked about. There were teams, I won't identify which ones, but there were teams that I had at Vanderbilt in the past where I literally coached them through the entire shot clock. When I say that, I don't mean what I was saying on the sideline. What I mean was from a schematic standpoint, this is what the first 10 seconds was going to look like. This is what the next 15 would look like. And these would be like what the last 10 looked like. And now, they didn't think in terms of the first 10 and that they were just coached to where that's what they were doing, even though they didn't know it, if that makes sense. So as I'm watching us play in April and even when we came back in the summertime and, okay, we got some shot makers here. I don't have to coach them through all 30 seconds. Okay, I have to give them a format of play. And so once I figured out some of that, then I just started saying, okay, I need to keep the offense a little bit more simple. I don't need to be complex or intricate or anything like that. I just need to make sure that we're ball sure. We know what a good shot is opposed to a bad shot. We're unselfish. And then that's kind of how we've gone about it. So I would say, just to answer your question, one thing was having shot makers made coaching some of the offense a little bit easier.
Well, you were saying earlier, Kevin, that you've been trying some things and maybe you really hadn't been doing much before in your coaching career. What are some of those things?
What am I willing to give away here? I would say that we've done some different things with our man-to-man defense. Have a couple of different ways to play it. Maybe we'll press a little more than what my teams have in the past, because we have. I guess more than anything else is I have a very flexible, kind of versatile team, especially with the top 7 or 8 guys, because we're almost entirely from 6'4" to 6'8", so we're similar size. We don't have great size inside, but we don't have real small size unless I put Millie and Justice in at the same time. Then we're pretty small at the guard spots. But with the guys that start, you got Jamel, who's every bit of 6'6" or more. Chris is 6'4". Cam's, gosh, he might be 6'8" now. I don't know, 6'7" or 6'8". Sheldon's 6'7" or 6'8". Mike's 6'8". So we're all kind of same size. So we can switch a few screens maybe that we haven't switched in the past. Last year I'm playing with 2 7-foot guys. All right? And it's entirely different. So, yeah, we might not block as many shots as we did a year ago. I'm pretty sure of that. But we've got some things that we can do that hopefully can be problematic. And the other thing I like is we're pretty physical. We've got some physicality and even with the new rules, we have to know how to utilize that.
You talked about your uncertainty with the defense. In your opinion, do you feel like they've made progress? Being a little over a week from opening night.
That's a good question. And had I not had Sunday to draw upon, see what you don't sometimes realize is you leave practice when you practice against yourself, and you can either say, man, we looked really good on offense, or you can say, we really stink on defense. And that can be in the same day. You make a bunch of shots. Wow, we can really make shots. Well, wait a second, we can't defend anybody. So you don't really know until you go against somebody else if you're good on offense and stink on defense, or good on defense and stink on I mean, you just don't know. You have some ideas, but you don't really know. I would say that what I saw on Sunday gives me hope that we can be and we have made progress defensively, first of all, and gives me hope that we can be hopefully somewhat formidable defensively. Now again, we had a stretch where we got sliced up pretty good. So that's, that's a concern, but at the same time, there were significant enough stretches to where we guarded well that if we can learn how to sustain that over a 40-minute period, if we can do it without fouling, because the game is being called way differently than it was 2 years ago, then we can do some things defensively that, like I said, can be problematic.
You talked about your lineup. Your two freshmen, Corey and Justice, are they finding their way into that top 90?
I would say that right now both of those guys have a chance to have a good chance to be in that 9. Yeah, Justice has done some things from a defensive standpoint that are going to put him on the floor. I think he had 5 assists and no turnovers on Sunday, which is pretty dang good. We need to keep his focus on running the team and doing what a point guard is supposed to do, and that's making the people around him better. Justice has got a little bit of a scoring mentality, and I don't want to squash that by any stretch of the imagination, but that can't be the primary thought process that he goes through when he's on the court, because that's not going to be in his best interest, not going to be in our team's best interest.